Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the GoLive series, where we bring in very interesting conversations from our clients, where they highlight how they have leveraged generative AI to probably build really good and successful use cases, but most importantly, how have they leveraged technology to go live in production at scale. This is your host, Rishabh, founder and CEO for GoML, which is a niche generative AI solutions provider. Today's conversation is very close to my heart because we're going to dive deeper into how technology can actually be leveraged to make difference in lives of chefs, cooks, most importantly, probably parents, because I'm a new parent. I've got kids who are just probably under 2 years old. So I'm really looking forward to this conversation. I've been joined in by a very interesting lady who has a very successful career. She's a Harvard graduate. She has been featured in amongst the top 10 leaders in LATAM in technology by Bloomberg. She has been running a very successful business for the last 6 years. But the most important, the most impressive part of her profile that at least I find is that she's a certified chef from the Culinary Institute, Global Culinary Institute. That's what probably is the most impressive for me, Jessica, on your profile. But why don't we probably get started with a quick introduction for our listeners today?
Thank you so much for that lovely introduction. So, I'm Jessica. I'm a mom of two, a chef with more than 10 years of experience, and the co founder of the Little Lunches meal planning app. So, through Little Lunches, we've helped thousands of families create practical systems that remove the mental load of feeding the family and make healthy eating feel manageable in real life.
Great, thanks, Jessica, for that introduction. And I know, while we'll dive deeper into probably the problem statement or the use case that we worked together, but I mean, Little Lunches has been probably quite a good success for you, right? And I'm pretty sure that you continue to build on top of it. I know it got featured as the top amongst probably the top apps on App Store very recently for close to 100 geographies, right? It was also probably featured by the Stylist magazine, right, for the top family meal prep apps, right? And probably that's a very niche category. You guys also got accepted to the NVIDIA Inception program very recently, right?
Yes.
Why don't you probably enlighten us? What was your vision when you were probably building Little Lunches from the chef that you are, a certified chef, and then probably a technologist? How you probably came up with this idea and what was the vision for this?
So Little Lunches started from a real problem that I experienced as a parent myself. So you do realize we need to figure out what to feed these kids every single day for the next 18 years. Okay. So the daily stress of trying to feed the kids while juggling everything else, it's a lot. So, like many parents, I realized that feeding a family isn't just about recipes, it's about planning, the grocery shopping, dealing with picky eating, and making decisions every single day. So, what started as a solution for my own household quickly resonated with thousands of other families facing the exact same challenge. So, being featured by Apple and Google and Motherly and joining programs like NVIDIA Inception really confirmed to us that it wasn't just a personal frustration, it was a global problem parents everywhere are trying to solve. So the journey really has been about listening closely to families, iterating quickly, and building technology that supports real life, not an idealized life.
And that's what I really love about probably this series, right, Jessica, is where probably and the conversations that we have with our customers very to closer to heart real life problems that probably you're solving, right? And again, as I mentioned, probably being a new parent myself, I've seen the struggle day in day out, right?
Yeah.
But let's dive a little deeper in terms of the app or the problem statement that we're trying to solve, right? And the use case that we built together that you trusted GoML with. I think there were three problem statements that we're trying to solve. Right, one obviously is that you were already, first of all, congratulations on the success that you've been able to probably build, right? I know probably this is now a global application that is used by close to 500,000 parents globally, right? uh, but that probably brings in a bigger problem. One is that at scale, how do you probably bring in that personalization? Because I mean there are multiple applications available in the market that give you run of the mill meal preps, right? I mean, if I probably have ChatGPT or probably any of these tools today on my phone, I pointed to probably a set of recipes and just let them know that I want probably to bake some, cook something. It probably comes up with a recipe, right? So one is, how do you build personalization at scale? Because that's what you're trying to solve, first of all. Number two
Yeah,
is the
exactly.
linguistic problem, right? Because now that it's a global application, you don't only
Exactly.
have
No,
English
so
speakers.
this is very different in the sense that, so our vision in general, for the app, is for Little Lunches to truly become an operating system for feeding families. So it's not just quite say like a recipe app that's going to throw you like a generic meal plan, but an intelligent platform that supports the full reality of feeding kids, nutrition, behavior, planning, and logistics. Because we give you a personalized meal plan, the grocery list, and we offer grocery delivery as well. So it's like the full circle. So parents truly carry a huge mental load around food, deciding what to cook, making grocery lists, managing picky eating, trying to make sure their kids are getting a balanced nutrition. And our goal is truly to remove that friction that parents feel. So we see Little Lunches evolving into this AI driven family nutrition companion, is what I would like to call it, that learns each house, like how each household works, their culture, their routines, their preferences, and it truly adapts to support them over time. So we are using AI to personalize this nutrition at scale. So, as I said, instead of a generic meal plan, Little Lunches generates meal plans based on a child's preferences, their dietary needs, their developmental stage, and the real constraints that the family face, like time or budget or a busy schedule. And most importantly, AI helps us identify patterns in picky eating, because that's a really big thing with kids, that sometimes they don't want to eat everything you present. And it suggests realistic exposure strategies that parents can actually follow. So it truly supports parents from every angle, nutritionally, behaviorally, logistically, with the grocery delivery. So, for example, if a child consistently rejects certain vegetables but accepts them in a certain texture or certain dishes, the system can recommend gradual ways to introduce those foods without creating pressure at the table. So AI is also helping in that sense. It's also helping optimize the grocery lists for families to reduce food waste and spend less time planning. So the goal isn't just introducing AI for the sake of having AI here. It's for the AI to remove decision fatigue and help families follow through on healthy habits in a way that feels simple and human. So another thing that we've tried to incorporate is within our AI systems. So you ask Little Lunches, like, make me a one wheel meal plan. We're going to take into consideration the family members you have in your profile, make that meal plan according to their dietary needs, their dietary allergies, any constraints they might have, and we're going to answer the user in a way that they truly feel supported and it's truly personalized for them. Also, within the chat, you're going to see a video tutorial of how to create that recipe, to because some people nowadays, people are very visual. They don't just like to read, they also like to see. So within there, they also get a video tutorial, and incorporated within that is grocery delivery. So within one platform, you have the full scope of support that a parent could possibly need to fully make a balanced meal, their family to eat better, and help in the logistical sense of the word. You know, it's full support.
Perfect. I think the key takeaway for me is two part, right? One obviously is, as you mentioned, probably implementing this at scale. So it's, as you rightly mentioned, probably, the example that I gave from ChatGPT perspective is very, very generic, right? But what you're trying to
Yes,
solve probably is a very, very specific problem, which is either for parents that they are actually facing, but even probably in the human go life, right? Probably set goals for myself in terms of, dietary considerations, so on and so forth. But what's most impressive, right, Jessica, probably for me is the whole ecosystem that you're trying to build, which is not just probably giving that plan, that then probably, as you mentioned, reducing the decision fatigue. Right there, I probably have those groceries added to my carts, and then probably add those groceries. So I don't probably just, procrastinate it further to probably build or get to the right, diet plans or meal plans as well, right?
yes,
I'm going to add another constraint to this, right? To this conversation, and you already probably are aware of this, right? A lot of data that you actually manage on this app today is proprietary or sensitive data, right? Because
yes.
parents are coming and sharing their children's dietary issues, allergy issues, right? So which is probably considered to be very, very PAI data, right? So what's your vision primarily in managing that data? Because I mean, one of the things that we focus with our customers primarily is not just building the technology, but making the technology adaptable and practical, right? So how's your vision probably, or how's the app handling that type of data today?
Yeah, exactly. So, well, building on Amazon Web Services and within the goLive ecosystem has allowed to design little lunches for scale from day one. So, as the number of families using the platform grows, we're able to handle large databases, like large data sets, personalization workflows, and real time recommendations without constantly rebuilding infrastructure. So it also gives us access to advanced AI tools and enterprise grade reliability. That foundation is important because Little Lunches isn't just a consumer app. We're building a much broader nutrition platform that needs to support millions of personalized decisions for families every day. Um, so they've truly been very helpful with that.
Brilliant. So, and again, probably what I probably love of this, about probably what we've done together is three part, right? Just again, this is something that probably we focus with our customers as well is, and more for our listeners, is when you're probably building apps at this scale, you need to focus on three areas, right? One obviously is the scalability, which you probably just referred to as, which is AI. The component of AI primarily is being implemented more practically to give personalization at scale. The second
Yes.
piece is the security that we just spoke about. So, like probably taking example of Little Lunches, the recommendations that we actually give to the users or probably the consumers of this app is mostly metadata based, right? We don't primarily use the actual data on the ground to probably build these recommendations. So that data privacy is very important, right? And the third piece is, which probably I'm pretty sure Jessica would agree, is the accountability part of it. Because
Mhm.
what you are today or what Little Lunches does today from the outcomes perspective is very, very sensitive, right? You are actually giving meal outcomes or probably
Yeah.
suggestions which parents trust their kids with, right? So there needs to be some accountability, which is built to an explainable model, which we built in Little Lunches today as well. That if a recommendation is coming, what was the logic, right, that we actually probably used before coming to this recommendation, right? So these three tenets, and I'm very, very impressed with the vision that you built across these three tenets on the app. So congratulations and kudos on that,
Thank
right?
you.
Would love to hear probably because we've been engaged on this initiative for a couple of months now, right? Would love to probably hear how was your experience of working with the duo, which is GoML, and then leveraging the AWS partnership to build this ecosystem across, Jessica.
Our experience has been extremely positive. The team has been very responsive. They have built this amazing infrastructure that has allowed us to scale. Any feedback we have or any changes we want to make, the team is very responsive. Again, making quick fixes, any changes we have. Um, they've truly been very supportive throughout the entire process, and it's been truly a pleasure working with the team to develop this into a platform that can support millions of families.
Brilliant. And as First of all, thanks for that feedback. Would love to probably, share that with the team and would love to continue engaging with you.
Mhm.
But one thing that probably, which we again probably have realized delivering probably close to 100 of such projects is that Gen AI, or probably when you build projects or applications on Gen AI, they are not your traditional applications, right? They're not probably built in a software,
Yes.
waterfall model, and then you probably just ship it to your customers for them to probably take it live. There's an iterative approach that you need to probably go and follow, and that's what probably the team vouches for it as well, Jessica.
Mhm.
Uh, Before I probably, sorry, you're saying something, Jessica.
Oh no, I was agreeing with you. Yes.
Before I probably conclude the session, this is probably my favorite part because entrepreneurs and I speak to probably CIOs across levels, mid markets,
Yeah.
enterprise, and even startups like yourself, right? CIOs or probably even entrepreneurs still struggle to probably identify the right tech tenets to scale their workloads, right? They're still probably in the experimental phase, thinking phase, approval phase, and so on and so forth, right? You've run this business very successfully, and you've now taken it to the next level where you've implemented something like an LLM or a GenAI powered technology into the application, right? What is that one advice that you have for new founders or probably founders who are starting their journey on tech to be successful in this space?
Even though we are talking about technology, my advice is actually to start with the problem, not the technology. One of the biggest mistakes I feel founders make right now is trying to just add AI for the sake of keeping up or adding AI to a product instead of asking where can intelligence actually remove friction for users. So the base use cases for AI are the ones where personalization or automation creates real tangible value. So my advice is to focus truly on solving a real everyday problem and test quickly with users and pay attention to where people experience decision fatigue. AI is incredibly powerful, but I truly think that the companies that will win are the ones that use it to solve ordinary problems in ways that feel simple, intuitive, and human. So that's my biggest advice.
Oh my God, you've just opened up a Pandora box, right, in this space. And I really vouch for it. I've had close since I started GoML 2.5 years ago. I've spoken to close to 200 different CIOs. And every time I had a penny for someone who said, I want to implement Chat GPT, uh, I wouldn't be running this company. I would have retired by now. Number two, very well articulated, Jessica. People try to find the biggest of the problems to get started with, right? The most complex of the problems, right? The best way, obviously, to get started, and where we've also seen a lot of success built in, is when you've identified something which is more practical, right, to implement, which is actually a problem to solve. But at the same time, there's a readiness to probably solve it as well. Either you have the right data or you have the right stakeholders to probably implement or probably test it out, right? So both very, very good points, Jessica. I really appreciate and thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Really appreciate our partnership. First of all, thanks for trusting us with something as critical as diet plans for kids. Right, very close to my heart again. And thank you so much for joining us for the session today as well, Jessica.
Thank you so much.
All right.